Hello again, everybody. Why does my face always look so red in these videos? My left contact's a little foggy. Oh, this is, we're on the air. This is You Gotta Have Someone by Michael Cronin on Indie Pop Rocks. Not Bagel Radio, which I've been using lately. See, I got another situation here I gotta talk to you about. I like indie pop rocks. It's indie pop rocks with an exclamation point. What's going on here? But I've never known if it's indie pop rocks or it's indie pop rocks or it's in indie pop. I mean, whatever. But I can discover some new music there, and it's that. But that's really almost like a background station for me to have, like a cool sound in the background. Stuff that is enjoyable and pleasurable, but isn't going to attract my attention, and where I just oh my god, I got to hear this song and stuff like that. So. Pretty good coffee again. This morning I went with the Xanax again last night. I was just so frustrated. I went back and looked at my doctor's notes on the online portal, and I'd never really reviewed his after visit notes, and it's full of stuff that's just wrong. It's like I feel like I need to go in there and fact check. And then I did some research on some other things, and so he prescribed. First of all, I should have known this guy was just not for me. I'm going to start calling him Doggie Howser because he's no doogie. And first he's like, well, have you ever tried meditation to help me sleep? I'm like, do you know me? Like, no, I'm not really into that. I'm not into that. I'm not into that. I think homeopathy is baloney. I think a lot of it's been debunked. All this stuff about nature and supplements. I mean, I wish it was true. We wish it was true. We wish there were these solutions that were not nasty, horrible, big pharma making these things in factories. But you're being duped, people, and there's been a lot of reporting, not just by lamestream reporters, that shows that you're being totally duped by all of this stuff. And sometimes I post some of that in my social media and so on. I'll leave that for another day to talk about, but so he's like, well, I use it, and I'm like, look, I'm into doctors and drugs, okay? And so he's like, well, I use this one and it works for me. And by the way, I don't know if this counts as meditation, but when I when I go to sleep, or when I'm standing in the shower, or if I'm walking down the street and I don't have music with me or something, and in those instances where I'm just alone with my thoughts, maybe this is meditation, but I do, or maybe this is kind of, I'm not really, maybe this is sort of cognitive behavioral therapy-ish, but I do divert into my mind to think about other things. Like I typically think about the Cubs lineup, and then I can hopefully if I can fall asleep by the seventh batter, or yeah, that reminds me of another use of the Cubs lineup in which you hope to get to the seventh batter. And then is this the act? Is this a show? And then I'll tell you about this situation. I like this to, I don't want it to be too snug, but you want it to fit well. But this is no longer a public shirt, but I'll get to that. But I or I'll think about the standings. I'll go through each division or whatever. Like things that I need to do because so I don't. Otherwise, I'll think about my taxes and my finances and every bad decision I've made in life that got me to this point, and you know. So does that count as meditation? What does it say on the bottom there? I hope it's not made in China. It says, oh, LIVN. Oh, it is made in China. God damn it. LNM. Fuck. We are all interconnected in ways in this world in which it is impossible to achieve any kind of ethical or moral. I don't like the word purity, but I'll use it just for the sake of this conversation. And that's something we have to come to terms with. No matter, I'm not saying we shouldn't try, but I've had the open door scenario here lately. Is that showing the open door? Because for a while oh look, see I have a skylight too. For a while I was eschewing that because there is a screen there. It rolls down. It's kind of cool, but I don't want things flying in here. I decided this year I'd just go strictly AC, but it's nice to have the breeze and a clearer view to the outdoors. I'm in where I'm sitting. I've got a new desk scenario in this bedroom. I'm in my bedroom. So anyway, yeah. Oh, so I don't know if that's considered meditation, but so he's like, well, he's like, I use a meditation app, and it's called 10% Happier. Like, just to make things go smoother. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll give it a shot. He's like, no, really, it's not like, like the way you may think it is. If it's meditation, it's the way I think it is. Well, finally last night, I'm like, okay, let me open up this app. And it's like, okay, first, like, what is your name? And what is your this? And what is your objective here? And it starts asking all these questions. And I just want to see what is it that you're... Is this going to be something where I say something like a mantra? Because that's bullshit. I already have a mantra. People suck. And the only way I get through each day is purely through vengeance, and I suppose I have some curiosity as to how everything turns out, but I mean, our existence is a complete accident and a joke. But anyway, I couldn't even get through all that bullshit, and I'm just like, delete. And then he prescribed, he's like, melatonin. And I know some people say they've had good results with melatonin. Then I've had others, like I had one friend of mine who was like, oh, he swore by melatonin. He's had all these sleep issues, and oh my God, they went away. He sent me that email a few months ago, and I checked back in with him, and he's like, I don't know, yeah. and then I read this article from, I think it might have been Center for Inquiry, which is this awesome, like, kind of skeptics. I have to shave. The less white on my face, the better. Like, skeptics organization. It does all this kind of great debunking. I don't know if it was on them or one of their adjacent, like, they do this thing called Quack Watch and all this stuff. And I read this piece that was just like, melatonin is bullshit, and here's why. It's because your body produces it, and this, that, and the other thing, and it's blah, blah, blah. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to check out this melatonin thing, because there's some people I know just really swear by it. And I did a fair amount of of research from sites like, Mayo Clinic, like credentialed, even though that doesn't mean as much as it should, to wherever else I could find, just to hear the different arguments and stuff like that. And I'm pretty persuaded it's pure bullshit. It just is. Plus, it's not regulated. It's not FDA. There are very, very few studies, like legitimate studies, and the legitimate studies they are basically say if there's any benefit at all, it's a minimal benefit. Like, it might help you get to sleep 1.5 minutes faster, but here are all these other things that work much better. So if I've offended any of you melatonin users out there, I don't give a fuck. So I'm like, but the funny thing is, and he's like, well, do you want me to write a prescription for this, or do you want to just, because I'm like, isn't that over the counter? And he's like, yeah, either way. And I said, well, if you write a prescription, then Medicaid will pay for it, presumably, even though it's probably only like $10 or something. Well, here's the funny thing. God damn. Here's the funny thing is that, so he prescribed me that, and I think I might have mentioned before this hydroxyzine, which not only makes me think of hydroxychloroquine, but remember Hydroxy cookies? They were the knockoffs of Oreos. Were bad, man. An Oreo's an Oreo. An Oreo is like, it's like Heinz ketchup. No one else has perfected. It's perfected. Don't fuck with it. I mean, I know now they do like all these different colors and stuff. I suppose that's not a terrible, those aren't terrible brand extensions, but there is one other kind of ketchup actually that's good, but I don't consider it to invalidate the Heinz is the platonic ideal of ketchup, the Heinz 57, and that's because, damn it, I'm going to run out of coffee. I'm going to have to go back downstairs to get more because it's in the kitchen. I use a Mr. Coffee. Things I love called Mr. Coffee, Mr. Red, and the late beloved Mr. Steer. But anyway, there is this red, it's this spicy, like 55, red spicy ketchup. It's really phenomenal. They used to have it at Logan Bar. But anyway, so it turns out that, so the prescription for hydroxyzine, I get the email, your prescription is in, come to Walgreens. But for the melatonin, it's like, your prescription is delayed because we're out of that product right now. They're out of melatonin. Like, how can you be out of melatonin? And then I was like, well, maybe the pharmacy's out, but maybe can they just go out there into the stands, I almost said, the counter, and then just slap a prescription label on it? And I haven't heard back from him since. Apparently hasn't been refilled since, but I've decided I'm not even going to take melatonin. I mean, you could say, well, what's wrong with trying? It's like, because it's bullshit, and I don't want it to clash with a bunch of other things. Plus, I said to Doggie Howser, I said, I've read some things, because I had already previously rejected the use of, they should make it a way to do these videos where I don't have to look at myself. I guess I can do it like this. So they, it's like I did this interview, I can't talk about it right now, for this documentary, and I looked at the questioner, or no, I looked at the camera, but the questioner was here. I wish it had been the other way around. Anyway, I had done just a little bit of research, sources close to Google. As I stole that phrase that I use a lot, sources close to Google. I stole that from my old friend Flynn McRoberts, one of my favorite bylines too. Flynn McRoberts, maybe my all-time favorite byline might be Darlene Superville, but Flynn McRoberts is a pretty good one. Flinny Mac. Anyway, by the way, he's like the investigative editor for Bloomberg, because everyone I know all my peers have gone on to do great things, and I'm sitting here in some dude's bedroom where his daughter used to live when she was a kid. But anyway, the point being that I've done some research that says melatonin. The research isn't clear, but it's not necessarily. It can have some interactions for people who suffer from depression or take antidepressants. Like, it's not. Sometimes what I found says no link, and sometimes it says there is a small link. Where but it's not regulated. It's not FDA regulated. It's because it's classified as a dietary supplement. And one thing I read is another problem among many of these supplements is that you don't know what's in it, and sometimes you don't know what kind of batch you get, and it's like street drugs that you don't know if it's the good stuff or not. I'm told that happens at times. You don't know what it's cut with and shit. I don't want to be taking melatonin that's got like aluminum and asbestos in it and bullshit like that. So I really just and then someone I talked to, I'm gonna pause right now and not make you people wait, or maybe I'll put some music on. Would that be better as I go down and refill this coffee cup? Yeah, let's see what Indie Pop Rocks is playing. Please enjoy briefly I'm Afraid of Everything by Maida. Yeah, I could just put the coffee making materials up here. Plus now it's kind of harder to get up on this chair because it's kind of this rattan type. I don't know if it's rattan, but it started to feel a little hard on my butt, so I put a bunch of blankets on there, so I'm sitting up a little taller. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I think these videos are kind of hidden gold. I keep deciding if I should really try to smooth them up or keep them really raw and unproduced. And they're probably too long. It's asking a lot for people to watch these for a long time. I was thinking about maybe doing it live, like I go live, but I also want to do news commentary and stuff. But this thing's already at fucking 18 minutes, man. I wouldn't watch the video that long. Anyway. Oh, I talked to someone who told me that melatonin gave her night terrors. Of course, she had them as a kid, too, but I already have enough I've had so many weird dreams in the last couple of months. There's this Mitch Hedberg line about dreaming. He's like, I don't like dreaming because I'm going to get this wrong, not deliver this properly, but something along the lines of, because pretty soon I have to build a go-kart with my ex-landlord. Yeah, so anyway, this hydroxyzine, then I think it's just antihistamine, which is what Benadryl is, which already hasn't worked for me for sleeping. And then I looked up the recommended, and so I think what this doctor was thinking was melatonin's for, because then I reviewed his notes online, melatonin for sleep and the hydroxyzine for anxiety as needed. Well, I don't really have anxiety per se. There's some repressed, like the the sensation of the heart rate thing. So there's like this repressed anxiety, and I think I know what the source of that is. I'm not sure if I've told you guys that, and it's something that can be resolvable, I think, and hopefully soon. But no, I just want something to help me sleep. So, oh, but did I tell you the melatonin was out of stock? Yeah, I already told you that part. So anyway, so I look, I go to Dr. Google, and the dosage, because I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to take 2. Like, I never even experimented with the dosage on the Benadryl, for example. And the recommended dosage for sleeping for hydroxyzine is like 25 to 100 milligrams, or in some cases I saw 50 to 100. My prescriptions is 10. It's 10. Take as necessary, as needed for anxiety, every 8 hours, 10. So then I'm like, well, should I take 3 of these? I'm like, ah. And then so I just took a Xanax, and it worked beautifully. But then I emailed a friend. I said, am I an addict yet? Because I counted out, because my Xanax is not prescribed. That's gone. Now I have Xanax from a caring friend. Had some extras, let's just say. And so I emailed Tim Willett. I said, God, I look horrible in these videos. Then I said, especially given that I'm only like 34 tops. I said, am I already an addict, given that I just counted out how many Xanaxes how many pills I still have in the bottle? Like, oh no, I have to spend every waking hour procuring more. So my plan is to either hope that this situation will resolve by the time those run out, or get a prescription. Although I don't want to take them every night. That doesn't seem like the right thing. On the other hand, it probably takes years to build up an addiction, or at least months, or a tolerance for it. That's also an issue. Oh yeah, God, there's so much more I was going to tell you about, but it's 22 minutes, man. Who watches these things? This is my shirt of the day. It's no longer a public shirt, because this has become that's just not, and especially if you wear like something over it, a shirt, and then you got this hanging down, and it's kind of getting frayed. But I've had this for quite a long time, and there are people who, I got it. I think I subscribed. I don't think I even know if I subscribed for the magazine. I wrote them a very short, brief. It was a review of a Palace record. That's a whole nother issue, because it ended up being a favorable review, but I really am not a fan of Billy, Prince, Bonnie, Billy, whatever. But anyway, I don't know if it was that or if I actually got a subscription, but they sent me this t-shirt, and it's really cool. But a lot of people see it and they don't like read it closely. The word magazine is right there. Bi-monthly magazine, The Cure for Common Country, and they don't and they're just like, oh, no depression, oh. Yeah, like people comment on it as if I'm like saying, no depression. Like, by the way, I did look for Xanax t-shirts on the web yesterday. Oh, I guess I already told you this, because they're just too expensive. But I will say that remember in yesterday's video I said, is there another word that starts and ends with X? And My old pal David Morrison put into the comments, Xerox. But the strange thing about X when it starts a word is that it's really a Z, right? It's pronounced Z. So why do they even spell it that way? It should, Xanax should be spelled Z-A-N-A-X, and same with Xerox too. Maybe not in Canada because Z is Z up there, which is just fucking insane. But all right, well, I guess I'll have to leave all of these other long list of topics. I started to write them down in my notebook. I do have a thread. I did a thread on Twitter this morning at Beechwood Report about how a story about a settlement for some aggrieved, properly, rightly so, car wash workers in Little Village, after a 9-year fight, finally got a settlement of back wages and so on. And it led me to think about early in my career in Florida when an editor tried to get me to write a story about what it was like to work in a car wash. And if you go to @Beechwood Report, you can see that thread, and which also led me to a story, a couple of other stories of a similar vein to make a point about the mindset of newspaper editors. As newspapers have become less and less relevant, though, I'm not even sure how many of these stories really matter anymore, and how much I've learned about newspapers. I mean, they still do kind of, I don't know, there's so many great, cool websites out there right now, like, in a lot of different ways, whether it's ProPublica or the kind of stuff that but people used to give me a hard time early on about BuzzFeed, but they do a lot of great work. And there's just so many other things. I mean, I don't get any of my baseball news from the Tribune Sun-Times. I mean, that stuff is child's play. It's just ridiculous. They're badly informing their readers by still talking about things like batting averages and cliches and pimping their fandom and so on. So anyway, yeah, maybe I'll just go live one day and let it rip. Holy shit, this is long. But it's gold, is it not? I think I got some sun. Maybe that's it. I was sitting outdoors with my laptop one day. Okay. Oh, let's see what's playing here. What's going to play us out? This is kind of nice. This is In Ya Too by Boy Scouts, or vice versa. Oh. Doves by Carousels, or vice versa. I need a sign-off. Good luck out there today. We're all counting on you.